the biggest name yet from a player standpoint, and really only the second player that we know about that's had the coronavirus, Von Miller, Super Bowl 50 MVP, has tested positive, is dealing with some symptoms, nothing severe, a cough that his girlfriend thought didn't sound normal. He also has asthma, so he falls into that category of people who have pre-existing conditions that could possibly make things worse. So far, so good. He said he got tested a couple of days ago. He started to feel normal yesterday, and then that's when he found out that he did indeed come back positive. He joins Brian Allen, the Rams center, who tested positive for the coronavirus. Sean Payton, the Saints head coach from a few weeks ago. A couple of former players have died from it. But, this is the biggest name by far as it relates to a player. And again, it's only the second one we know about, but it's Von Miller, Peter. And one of the reasons he came forward with it is he wants people to realize that it needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I think it's very, very good that he comes out and just talks about it plainly. Because clearly, look, in the United States right now, Mike, so many people who aren't even being tested are presumed to have the coronavirus. And I think Von Miller coming out, from what I read last night, I think Mike Kliss in Denver talked to him. And his whole point is, let's be altogether transparent. I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm feeling. I'm going to tell you exactly what the symptoms are, so that if you have this and you are maybe spiraling down a little bit, you've got to call your healthcare provider and really advocate to be tested. We know that there aren't enough tests right now in the United States, but the only way you get more is for people like Von Miller to come forward calmly, coolly, sensibly, and really advocate for better treatment of this deadly disease.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that I've noticed some people are very circumspect about acknowledging they have it. And I understand medical privacy is an important thing, but at a time like this, there's no stigma to having the coronavirus. It's a virus that makes its way through the population like the flu, and that doesn't mean it is like the flu, and I think the numbers we've seen have shown otherwise, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's more important, I think, to make it known, especially if you're someone that people know about, somebody who has a position of prominence, and I applaud Von Miller, and I hope no one out there who's had it, who's in a position to grab a microphone and say, hey, people, don't screw around with this. Take it seriously. Continue to comply with stay-at-home orders. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to not touch your face. Continue to do everything you've been doing, because this is real, and it's not good if you have it. So hopefully people, whether it's in football, other sports, celebrities, whoever, if you get it, make it known that you have it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, because anyone can get it, and a lot more people will get it if the most prominent people in our society have it and keep their mouths shut about it.
Yeah, and I think I really liked the fact that Tony Baselli, both to me and to several other people, came out recently and basically said, hey, listen, I had it. Excuse me. I had it. Here's what it was. And here's the warning signs of it. And here's what you really should be careful to avoid. And so those are the kind of things, because, look, Mike, you know that probably you and I know I do. I spend a couple of hours every day, even now in the middle of draft mayhem. I spend a couple of hours every day looking and seeing what the latest is, whether I'm watching Governor Cuomo talk here in New York where I live, or watching some of the President Trump stuff in the evening, or just watching the news. I've really gotten into watching the PBS NewsHour with my wife after dinner. And so I am really trying to get as much news as I can. But the fact is that probably the vast majority of people in our country don't do that, or I should say the majority. Because, a lot of people, when the news is a bummer, they say, hey, I'm going to watch Cheers, the reruns of Cheers or whatever. And I don't blame them at all for doing that. But I do think it's good when somebody who's a very prominent member of our society stands up and says, I've got it. Here's what I'm feeling. If you feel anything like it, don't ignore it.
And let me tell you, it is difficult to continue to stay up with the news of this. It wears you out mentally and emotionally.
It does.
And I have reduced the amount of time that I will subject myself to this every day. I'll watch Brian Williams on MSNBC at 11 p.m. Eastern. That's not a plug. It's a fact. And I'll watch some of the nightly news with Lester Holt on NBC at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, that sounds like a plug. It's not. It's a fact. Beyond that, I can't hover all day long on cable news channels anymore, Peter. After 3 or 4 weeks of it, I just reached my limit. It's this weight that you carry around every day, but you still want to know what's going on. And I think now that we're getting into this debate as to when the world is going to get back to normal, we need this reminder that people are still going to get it, because we need that reminder that we still have to be careful, because people far above our pay grade will be making the decision about when the world begins to go back to normal, and that's when the risk is going to be heightened dramatically for a lot of people once the doors on society open up again, even if, and again, I'm not expressing any opinion about when they should. All I know is I can already sense that there will be a sharp disagreement as to when the world is ready to get back to normal.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.